Real people, real crimes, real life drama.
Brian Brimminger was a typical Marine, that kind of an all-American kind of persona. He was assigned to a color guard in Washington, D.C. There's pictures of him in the White House with President George W. Bush. From the outside looking in, it seemed like Brian Brimminger had everything going for him. In 2011, after having served 7 years in the Marine Corps, Brian Brimminger leaves the Marines. He decides to go to Panama. And his plan is to decompress, take some time off.
My sister was deeply in love with the man named Brian Brimminger. All she wanted was to be with him and love him.
They were so madly in love. I think she was very proud of him because he was a Marine.
She used to say things like, "I'm with a Marine." Yvonne went down to Panama with Brian to start a new life. That's where Yvonne wanted to be. It was perfect. I am Michelle Valenzuela, and my sister is Yvonne Baldelli. She likes to karaoke. She likes to dance.
Did Yvonne like it here?
She love it here. Just love it here. Places with cheap beers and happy hour. It's beautiful. She's got the water right in front of her house.
Where are we right now?
Okay, we're on Isla Carenero in Bocas del Toro. This is the house that they were renting in, Brian Brimminger and Yvonne Baldelli. Yvonne told her family members that everything was good. She painted a very happy picture. Through emails, she made it seem like everything was fine and well. The reality of it was that her and Brimminger were fighting constantly.
After I'd heard stories of the fights, I could understand why she would want to leave.
She fell off the radar screen. She just went away one day. Her emails stopped, her communication stopped. Everybody lost contact with her. There's no immigration records that indicates that she left Panama.
There's no book for this. There's no book for dummies on what to do when your sister has gone missing.
Carenero from the outside appears to be a tropical paradise, but it's a swampy hell.
I call it Devil's Island because some terrible things took place on that island.
Brian Brimminger has done nothing, zero, to help with the search for Yvonne.
We are in Central America, in some jungle, in some swamp, looking for Yvonne.
That through the middle is really deep.
This is unbelievable.
What no one knew is that Brian Brimminger had a secret. He was living a double life.
Brian Brimminger moved to California, hooked up with Kristen Werkhoven, and they got married. Kristen worked at the White House, and that's where she and Brian met.
And his life is going on like normal, and our life will never be the same.
What did you do to her, Brian?
We knew that there had been foul play. We knew he was the last one to see her alive.
Brian's coming out with his golf clubs. Let's go, guys.
And this is what I know.
Okay, you rolling? Let's go.
My sister went down to Panama with Brian. Brian returned and my sister didn't.
Brian Brimminger was exceptionally arrogant. But what he didn't account for was this family's fervor to find what happened to their daughter and their sister.
Brian, Peter Van Sant with CBS News. We'd like to ask a couple questions.
It's an easy thing to tell the truth. He told a lot of lies. That's what led to his demise.
I'm Peter Van Sant. Tonight on 48 Hours, Devil's Island.
"48 Hours" will be back in 90 seconds.
In the spring of 2012, Brian Breminger was living the high life in Southern California. Just months removed from a decorated Marine Corps career, Breminger was happily married and living in the suburbs.
When I look at the pictures of Brian and Kristen, I just see a couple in love and super sincerely happy and just enjoying the day at the beach in La Jolla.
These joyful newlywed photos of Brian and Kristen Breminger were a shock to Yvonne Baldelli's family. They expected her to be in the picture.
It wasn't their wedding day, but they came in their wedding attire in a limousine and champagne flowing.
Photographer Jack English had no idea of the intrigue behind these happy images, that Brian had proposed to Kristen just days after Yvonne disappeared in Panama.
She looked very happy, very in love, as if she found her Prince Charming.
Prince Charming? A man who had just left Yvonne Baldelli in Panama 2 weeks earlier? How could this happen? We traveled to the remote islands off the Caribbean coast of Panama to find out. Up ahead is the island of Caranero, where Yvonne and Brian, who the locals called Brim, came to live in September 2011. It's a place where they could chase their dream.
Why did they decide to go to Panama?
She liked the fact that they could live on the beach, you know, pretty reasonably priced down there.
Yvonne's sister, Michelle Valenzuela, says Brian wanted to become a singer, performing in bars and clubs. With her beloved dog Georgia May in hand, Yvonne brought 2 sewing machines in hopes of starting a clothing business. Stepmother Lillian Faust.
She was going to make bathing suits and sell them to tourists. I knew she was excited, and she didn't have any reservations.
It sounded like she had a real plan for the future.
She did, and she thought that she found her paradise, her perfect place.
Michelle recalls how her younger sister Yvonne, recently divorced, was smitten with Brian when they first started dating in 2009 in Southern California.
I didn't think she was physically attracted to him. That was a big part of it.
And while Yvonne seemed to be falling in love with Brian, big sister Michelle wasn't so sure.
As far as emotionally from my sister, Yvonne would put 100% into you, and she would expect that back. And I didn't get that impression that she was receiving that. That concerned me. She deserved that.
After Yvonne was laid off from her management job with Procter & Gamble and Brian ended his career in the Marines, the two decided to make a fresh start and reinvent themselves in Panama, settling in this house. They quickly fell in with the local expats.
Did you think they were in love? Apparently.
It seems so.
Joan and Stephen Crabtree own the Cosmic Crab, a funky resort and waterfront bar where Brian would sing for his supper.
He played here at the Cosmic Crab a couple of nights a week, and they were frequent visitors here.
They were very nice people.
Penny Tom, owner of another waterfront bar, also let Brian play for food and free booze. Lots of booze.
They used to drink a lot, so they were always happy.
What's a lot?
A lot.
And Jim Mertens says Brian's drinking may have gotten in the way of his singing.
He played the guitar good, but when he started to sing, that's when it went away.
What was it like?
Like a hound dog on a porch.
She looked very happy in the pictures, and she was really enjoying herself there, and I knew it would be a place that she would like.
For Yvonne's father, Jim Faust, the constant stream of joyful phone calls and emails describing the couple's Panama adventures was reassuring.
Yvonne's emails were stories of exactly what her life was like down there, and I could picture it, and I could close my eyes, and it was like I was there. I couldn't imagine the whole thing.
Emails like this one.
She says, "Hi, sis. Brian, already working at local restaurants and bars. We love it. We wake up and go running, then swim in the ocean every morning."
And so, Yvonne's family thought all was well in paradise, and that Brian might be the one for Yvonne.
I believed that they were going to get married. That's what I thought was going to happen when they got down there.
But then, Right around Thanksgiving 2011, 3 months after they arrived in Panama, the happy emails and calls from Yvonne started to drop off. For Michelle, a sisterly instinct started to kick in.
That's what set me off, was the fact that they were coming less frequent, the emails from her, and then they stopped completely.
2 weeks passed. Then, on December 14th, Michelle finally got a text. But it wasn't from Yvonne.
There was a number I didn't recognize, and a text message on there said, "This is Brian, may I make arrangements to pick up my truck?"
Michelle was shocked. Brian was back in the U.S.?
I sat up, called that number. For only thing out of my mouth was, "Where's my sister?" He says, "Didn't you get my email?" I said, "I haven't received any emails from anybody. It's been a few weeks." I said, "I'll call you back." So I went to my computer.
Michelle discovered an email she had overlooked. It was from Brian, who had never written before.
The one from him stated, "I'm sure you've heard by now that Bonnie and I are no longer together." I called him right back. So I asked him point blank, "What happened?" And he said they had got in a fight because she had found out that he had a child from somebody else.
That somebody else, Kristen Workhoven. The two had a baby girl in 2010. Since Yvonne was unable to have a child because of a medical condition, the discovery must have been earth-shattering. Brian then said Yvonne just up and left.
I said, "Did she leave a note?" "No." "Has she tried to call you since?" "No." "Do you know where she's at?" "No." And I said, "I haven't heard from her, Brian." And he said, "Well, I'm sure she's fine."
But Michelle had her doubts about that story. And 10 days later, when Brian called and still wanted to pick up his truck, Michelle said she had another plan.
I said, "When you come to pick up the truck, I'll be here. That's no problem. And I think it's a good idea that you go with me to the police department, since you're the last one to see her, and we can fill out a missing persons report. Because now we're already in mid-December, and I haven't heard anything from her, and that's not right. Something's wrong."
In December of 2011, Michelle Valenzuela was still worried about her missing sister. So she went back to her computer, where she found another overlooked message. This one from Yvonne.
"Hi, sis, just an update. Brian and I are no longer together. I should have trusted my instincts that he is a lying, cheating ass. I'm headed to Costa Rica with a man I met when we first got to Bocas."
What'd you think when you read this email?
I just wasn't sure. There's some things in there that didn't feel right to me.
Her head was spinning. Could Yvonne really have run off with another man after learning that Brian had a love child?
All Yvonne ever wanted to do was be a mother. That's all she ever wanted to do was be a mother. And to find out that Brian had a child, and she sold everything she had to go to the other ends of the world to be with his man, and he didn't tell her about that. I'm questioning what her mental state is right now. She's heartbroken.
In upstate New York, Jim and Lillian Faust also felt the turn of events was just so out of character for their daughter.
For her life to change so abruptly, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm going with this guy," and
To Costa Rica.
to Costa Rica, that made absolutely, positively no sense to me.
Also making no sense, 3 weeks had passed since Yvonne had emailed from Panama, but then out of the blue, she sent a new email. It was strange.
"Miss you and everyone at home. I'm starting to get a little homesick. I'm working on plans to get home as early as the second week of January. I've been living with cliffhangers for a while. Love you, sis, Yvonne."
While strange, the email was also reassuring for her family, who was happy to learn Yvonne would soon return to California.
So I stopped worrying. I figured, okay, she knows that in January we're having a family get-together. She's going to be there.
Do you feel she's safe at this point?
I was still worried, but I was satisfied with it for the moment.
On the same day that email arrived, so too did Brian Brimminger, knocking on the front door of Michelle's LA home to pick up his truck.
What did you see on his face? What was his demeanor like?
He was just in a hurry. He was calm, but it was very brief.
All business.
Yes,
Get his stuff, get his truck.
and leave.
After Brian got his pickup truck, Yvonne's emails stopped. 16 long days passed until on January 6th, 2012, Michelle wrote her sister. The subject, worried.
I just want to make sure you weren't kidnapped or someone pretending to be you. Ha ha. There's my paranoid, suspicious mind, or maybe too many 48 hours.
Did you ever hear back from your sister again?
No, that's the last email.
Michelle was still hopeful that she would appear at that family reunion, but Yvonne never showed up.
Well, at that point, when we met up with my dad and I told him we haven't heard from her, he said, oh no, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And I told my dad, she did not leave Panama. That's just my feeling.
By now, Michelle was convinced her sister never ran off to Costa Rica with another man. So her instinct was to learn where Yvonne's emails were really coming from.
So I went to my cousin and asked him to please check it out, because like I said, I haven't got a clue.
The cousin, a technology whiz, said tracking Yvonne's emails would be easy. All he needed was their IP addresses. So he searched the emails Yvonne had supposedly sent from Panama and Costa Rica, as well as that email Brian had sent from near Dana Point, California. The cousin made a startling discovery.
The ones from Panama came from Panama. And then the one that was supposed to be with her being in Costa Rica came from the United States.
Where in the United States?
One of them looked like they were coming from Dana Point.
That email, Michelle says, originated from where Brian was now living near Dana Point, California. It was the evidence Michelle had been looking for.
They were sharing the same IP address.
So Yvonne's email is coming from Brian's computer.
Yes.
The family's worst fear had come true. It appeared Brian had hacked into Yvonne's email account and was impersonating her. But why?
That's when I knew that he did something to her. And
it's not missing person, it's murder now.
It's murder.
I said my sister's dead and I'm never going to see her again.
But Michelle had no time to mourn. She took that new evidence down to the FBI, where she met with Special Agent Andrew Masters.
Michelle Valenzuela, she was a Spitfire. When they brought that to us, we knew that there was absolutely foul play involved.
The FBI immediately launched an investigation into Yvonne's disappearance, with Masters taking charge. Yvonne's family then contacted the State Department.
I call the embassy, and the embassy tells us there is no record of her ever leaving Panama and no record of her ever entering Costa Rica.
Yvonne's family couldn't wait any longer. They traveled to Panama to find answers. The FBI made a move as well, targeting Brian Brimminger as a person of interest.
Brian didn't realize what exactly the FBI is capable of.
With the FBI investigation underway in the States, Yvonne's family met up with legendary investigator Don Winner in Panama City.
Why is it when something goes bad with an American citizen in Panama, you get the phone call?
I've already put away, or helped to put away, 3 serial killers. So when bad things happen, they know that to come to me when they don't know what else to do.
Winner is an ex-U.S. intelligence officer with an uncanny ability to solve murders. Jim and Lillian tell Don the story of their daughter's disappearance and Brian's claim that she's run off with another man.
I think the chances that she's running around in Costa Rica somewhere with some other dude are damn near 0. Here's the deal. This is what happened. This is what we think is going on.
It's not the first time Winner, a CBS News consultant, has worked on a case with 48 hours.
All right, we're going to go take a look at this yellow trimaran.
The intrepid investigator helped solve the murder of American sailor Don North, as 48 Hours reported in 2011.
Just on a personal side in all of this, can you believe you and I are doing this again?
No, absolutely not. I tell you what, it's amazing.
Winner is convinced Brian Brimminger is involved. His strategy? Put pressure on the Panamanian government to act.
Because when Don Winters speaks,
the people listen, yeah.
Winters' game plan also called for Jim and Michelle to give blood for DNA tests should any remains be found. And when Yvonne's family travels hundreds of miles from Panama City to the tropical island where she disappeared, the Panamanian police are persuaded to hold a press conference to plead for information.
The family has been experiencing a living nightmare for quite a few months, and we continue to appeal to anyone who knows absolutely anything about Yvonne's disappearance to come forward.
Panamanian police announce for the first time that Yvonne is the victim of foul play and name Brian Brimminger as the suspect.
Todos adoramos a Yvonne.
This news conference reverberated around the world.
Police say within weeks of her disappearance, Brimminger returned to the U.S., got engaged, and married another woman. Tonight, the FBI is calling him a person of interest.
Riding the momentum of the press conference, they printed flyers, fanned out to neighborhoods and the village, searching for their own clues. It's a bittersweet search for Yvonne's niece, Lauren Byer, in a place that is no longer a paradise.
There's nothing here for us until we find her. That's why we're here.
But the family's quest is starting to get results. Witnesses who knew the couple come out of the woodwork, describing Brian's verbal and physical abuse.
To me, he was a scary person. He was not the kind of person I wanted to be around.
Local bar owner Jeff Salzman saw it firsthand on Yvonne's face.
As I recall, it was black eyes and blackness around the face and bruises.
was she self-conscious about it?
She was trying to hide it and not speak of it.
It was very painful to learn that he had hit her, that she had bruises, that she had black eyes. Those things were very difficult to learn.
The realization that Yvonne may have been murdered is setting in.
Where could Yvonne's body have been dumped? Well, just feet in front of that house, you've got thousands of square miles of water. While if you just go not 20 yards from the shoreline, this impenetrable swamp. Try to find something in there.
But that's exactly what Yvonne's family, investigators, and volunteers set out to do. Entering what could be Yvonne's swampy graveyard.
Describe this area that has to be searched. Just how difficult a place is it?
Okay, it's jungle, it's tropical, so you have every kind of bug and critter that you can think of, spiders and snakes, and, you know, it's not a place to go slogging around through.
Struggling through the muck, the spiders, and the rancid water, the smallest discovery raises hope. A purse, a medicine bottle, a mysterious sinkhole.
I kept asking myself, I want to find Yvonne, but do I want to find Yvonne? I mean, I want to know where she is, but do I want to see her in these swampy areas? Then
they find a passport.
We find a U.S. passport, the front page here.
None of it is Yvonne's. But back in the United States, the FBI confronted Brian Brimminger.
We went and knocked on his door. He answered and invited us in, said that he was expecting us.
FBI Special Agent Andrew Masters questioned Brian Brimminger for more than 4 hours while he babysat his young daughter.
This is Special Agent Andrew Masters along with Special Agent Gabriel Ramirez approaching Apartment M in an attempt to have a consensual monitored interview with Brian Brimminger.
We weren't sure if he was going to break down and confess to having a part in her disappearance and murder, or if he was going to become angry, if he was going to kick us out.
Brian stuck to his story. Yvonne left him for another man.
I come back home and there was a note that said, and I quote, going to Costa Rica with a man I've been talking to, F you ass.
But when confronted with Michelle's email evidence, Brian began to stumble.
Brian, I'm just going to kind of lay it out there, man. The IP addresses are not coming back from Costa Rica or Panama.
Okay.
They're coming back from here. Okay, so.
Here?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if she's not hanging out around here, then somebody sent those emails, right? How did those emails get sent?
Do you know anybody that would have her email account hacked into her account? No.
Then something caught Master's eye.
As soon as I walk in, I see a white Sony Vaio.
Which is a computer.
A laptop computer, exactly. And we knew that Yvonne owned a white Sony Vaio laptop that she had taken with her to Panama.
Well, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we may very well have Yvonne's computer right here.
Master's hunch was spot on. It was Yvonne's computer. But why was it in Brian's condo? And would it help unravel the mystery of Yvonne's disappearance?
Take the journey with Yvonne's family as they search the jungles of Panama, now at 48hours.com.
Even though he was under the FBI's microscope, Brian Breminger remained a free man, living with his family on the outskirts of San Diego. Kristen worked for a defense contractor, while Brian, unemployed, spent much of his time golfing.
Recognize that man?
Yes, I do. That's Brian.
In the summer of 2012, we showed Yvonne's sister Michelle video of Brian's new life.
What goes through your mind when you see him?
Well, honestly, it's not surprising now that I know what he's capable of. He thinks he got away with murder. So what you have here is a person who killed my sister and can walk away scot-free.
You ready? Brian's coming out with his golf club.
Let's go, guys. Okay, you roll.
Just a few months after that FBI interview, we came face to face with the suspected killer.
Brian? Peter Van Sant with CBS News. We'd like to ask a couple questions. Would you please talk to us? Did you murder Yvonne Baldelli? You can speak to us. You can answer that question. Brian, why won't you speak with us? Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
While Brian heads off to enjoy another carefree day on the greens, the FBI was turning his life upside down, interviewing everyone he knew, including his wife, Kristen.
What had Brian told her about why he was living in Panama?
He told Kristen that he is going down to Panama to decompress from after leaving the Marine Corps, and that he was going with some Marine Corps friends.
Did Kristen urge Brian to leave Yvonne?
No, Kristen didn't even know Yvonne existed.
So he lied to Kristen?
Absolutely.
Apparently, all those lies didn't matter to Kristen.
According to her, Brian is the greatest thing to ever happen to anybody.
But that's something she didn't want to share with us when 48 Hours knocked on her door.
Hi, Kristen. Kristen, I'm Ryan with CBS News. Is there any way we can talk?
Meanwhile, as Special Agent Masters took several investigative trips to Panama, a different portrait of Brian Breminger emerged.
We talked to many people that would socialize with him at bars, and we learned about all the domestic violence that he brought upon her, the choking, the dragging, the berating.
After speaking with friends and neighbors of Yvonne and Brian, Special Agent Masters became certain the couple had a violent fight on November 26, 2011. after Yvonne learned that Brian had fathered a child with Kristen.
The argument probably escalated, and at some point, Brian decided he was done with her and he was going to kill her.
Crucial evidence was also discovered on Yvonne's laptop, the very computer Masters saw when he first questioned Brian. About 2 weeks before her murder, Yvonne took this disturbing selfie.
That photo shows a massive black eye on her left eye and swelling in her left cheek.
In a way, from the grave, Yvonne helped you in this investigation.
Yvonne helped us tell the story, yes, absolutely.
And there was more chilling evidence.
We found the Yahoo searches in which he searches how to remove blood from a mattress.
When did he do that?
He did that about 10:30 in the morning, the night after Yvonne was murdered.
Masters discovered even more evidence in Costa Rica, where Brian is seen withdrawing cash from Yvonne's account.
We were able to obtain those ATM photos. So we have Brian using Yvonne's debit card to extract money from her account.
And Masters says there is no doubt that Brian used Yvonne's laptop to send those emails to her family. So we went looking for Brian Breminger again to get answers.
Hey, Brian, I need to talk to you. How do you explain the fact that Yvonne's email that said she was in Costa Rica that she sent to people was actually sent by you from here in California? Can you answer that? You knew she was dead when you sent that email, didn't you? Brian, we really want you to talk to us. Answer some questions. He's never said a word. Never said a word to us. He will not answer any questions.
And what about Yvonne's dog, Georgia May, which had not been seen since she disappeared? Don Winner has a theory.
He knew that she loved that dog, and that if the dog was running around, he knew that anything she said about her taking off with some guy to Costa Rica, everybody would immediately know it was crap. So he had to get rid of the dog too.
In his investigation, Don Winner unwittingly found a key piece of evidence on Brian's Facebook page, where he had sold this machete.
After Yvonne disappeared, Breminger made a comment about that knife. He's like, yeah, that used to be mine. I brought it down with me when I came down from the States. And the chilling part is he made a comment that said, I've only used it to chop up one stripper. That's just chilling.
Special Agent Andrew Masters needs to get his hands on the machete to see if it was used in Yvonne's murder. Incredibly, he was able to track down the person who bought it from Brian in Panama.
This is the machete that Brian bought in the United States and took down with him to Panama.
Can you pick it up for me?
Sure. It's very heavy, it's weighted, and it would inflict a lot of damage.
Investigators had the machete, they had the email, and they had caught Brian in multiple lies. Soon, someone would stumble upon the most important evidence of all.
Don Winner shares some of the details of his investigation, now at 48hours.com.
We seek answers, justice, and help.
Summer 2013. Nearly 2 years have passed since Yvonne Baldelli's disappearance.
You feel like you're reading a book, a terrible mystery or murder mystery, and there's no end to it.
On June 26, 2013, the final chapter of this mystery began to unfold.
A former Marine who family members say murdered his girlfriend before...
FBI Special Agent Andrew Masters slapped the cuffs on Brian Breminger.
What did you say to him?
You're under arrest. He said, turn around, put your hands behind your back. He needed to answer for his crime.
How did you learn that Brian had been arrested?
Truth be told, I received a text from my dad, said they got the SOB. And I sat down in a sense of relief because now they believed us.
Brian Breminger was charged with 13 felonies relating to the cover-up of Yvonne's death, but not murder. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Shane Harrigan and Mark Conover were lead prosecutors.
At that point, without having found the body, we didn't have quite enough to bring the murder charge.
But that would soon change.
Human remains have been found on a Panamanian island.
A local worker clearing some brush on the island where Brian and Yvonne lived came upon this duffel bag.
And when he unbuckled the clasp, he found Yvonne's skeletonized remains. By the time she was found 2 years later, it was only bones.
A DNA test confirmed it was Yvonne. Her remains were found just a few hundred yards from where the family had spent days searching.
I wanted to tell Michelle personally.
When I first heard the possibility that they found Yvonne, my first reaction was, for me, it's good news because I just feel good. We can nail this bastard.
While the family's prayers had been answered, an autopsy confirmed the hellish fact that Yvonne had been dismembered.
This is the actual device that was used to dismember Yvonne.
The most likely cause of death was being stabbed in the back at least twice.
Despite overwhelming evidence and proof that Breminger had repeatedly lied, his wife Kristen continued to stand by him.
Kristen, may I ask, do you still believe in your husband's innocence? Can you just tell us that?
Don't touch the camera.
Then, for Yvonne's family, another cruel tragedy struck in the spring of 2014. Michelle, who had dedicated her life to finding justice for her sister, now faced another deadly enemy. She was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer.
I'm still alive to fight for my life, and I'm still alive to fight for my sister.
This was Michelle in June of 2014. And this was her just 3 months later.
Today, I'm going to be giving a deposition.
Weakened by cancer and given just weeks to live,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm?
Michelle, a crucial witness, agreed to tell her story while she still could. Brian Breminger would sit directly across from her.
I'm going to try to ignore him as best I can.
And who is Brian Breminger?
The defendant.
Do you see him in the courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Would you please point to him and describe where he is seated for the record?
He's sitting at the end, khaki outfit, at the end.
Michelle passed out after the exhausting testimony. It was a courageous act of love for her sister.
This might be the last thing I get to do for her. Over and over and over again, because it'll be on camera forever.
Days later, she died. It took years of diplomatic and legal wrangling, but in early 2015, the government of Panama finally agreed to let Brian be tried for murder on American soil.
We came to the conclusion that the only way that Brian Breminger would face justice for his murderous act is if he was charged and convicted here in the United States.
Brian pleaded not guilty. The case was heading for trial in 2016 when investigators made another dramatic discovery. Yvonne's blood and DNA were found under the machete's handle.
So these 3 screws were undone. Mm-hmm. The handle opens up, and inside they find blood.
Right, they removed these 3 and just pulled it out here and conducted the testing on the blade and the inferior portion of the handle and found blood.
Whose blood?
Yvonne's.
Yvonne Baldelli's.
Yvonne Baldelli.
This now is a slam dunk. You know that this is the tool used to dismember her.
It was that made Brian finally realize he was not going to get out of he was not going to lie his way out.
It's over.
It's done.
He had cleaned the blade, but he hadn't cleaned underneath the handle. And it was that additional evidence that I believe eventually led Mr. Breminger to plead guilty.
Within a week, Breminger pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, while the other charges were dropped. and later at his sentencing finally admitted, after nearly 5 years of lies, to killing Yvonne Baldelli.
And I think if you look up in the dictionary evil and you see Brian's picture in there, he's the ultimate incarnate of evil in my mind.
In open court, Brimminger apologized to Yvonne's family, but his words rang hollow.
Brian Brimminger is a con artist. He had our daughter conned. He had his new wife conned. He had her family conned. He was able to live a double life, sometimes a triple life, and people buy what he says. But his actions show that he's not the person he says that he is.
Brian was sentenced to 26 years in federal prison. With the case over, Yvonne's remains were returned to her family. And laid to rest at sea.
To get her remains back and be able to give her a dignified resting place, I can sleep better at night knowing that she's not rotting in some jungle or deep in the ocean somewhere, knowing that she loved the ocean, knowing that we were able to put her in a place that she loved.
We brought her home, and I know that that was thanks to a lot of work of a lot of unsung heroes. I know.
In a way, two people were honored this day, Yvonne and her beloved sister Michelle, who battled a Marine to the end and won.
She's definitely a hero. She never gave up. To her dying day, she gave all she had.
Kristen and Brian Brimminger are still married. She continues to support and visit him in federal prison. Brimminger's prison term ends in February 2037. Help us solve this crime.
It was a savage murder.
A stunning model.
She was quite the trophy.
Married to a multi-millionaire.
This is where the assailant got her from behind, knocked her to the ground.
They slit her throat.
8 years, no arrest.
And there are no fingerprints.
No, nothing at all.
There are clues, the sketch.
Who is this?
Is this the guy that murdered my sister?
The letter.
And now that was a shock. Cut out in little bitty, individual, different letters.
I mean, why are you talking to me?
I want to find out who murdered my sister.
CBSN, CBS News, always on.
I'm no different than any other teenager in America. I love my family and my friends, my 2 dogs and my cat. I love writing, I love reading. Despite me trying to be a normal teenager, someone does want me dead. This is the picture of me, a description of me, where I lived, where I worked, that Mastermind 365 posted about me.
On the Murder for Hire website?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Yura. We have hundreds of gang members, criminals, and people who love to kill for money. They are anonymous. You are anonymous. So come and get rid of those nasty problems.
This is deadly serious. This is talking about the murder of a human being.
It definitely changed my life. I kept looking over my shoulder. I didn't know who I could trust. I could be killed on my way to work. I could be killed on my way home from school, and that terrified me.
You can submit your orders to kill the people you hate.
We've got some significant leads on who Yura might be.
Do you think you're getting close?
Yeah, absolutely. As a dark web intelligence analyst, my job is to uncover that which is hidden.
Is there a chance, as I look up on your screen, that may be our guy?
Everyone can be found. Yura can be found.
So we are literally a car ride from where we're talking right now to where you believe Yura actually lives.
Yes. We're gonna make a left at the next street. Go slower, go slower, go slower.
Where's the house?
It's this one right here. Yeah, it's this house right here. Where Yura might presently live. Man, my heart is racing.
That's simple. I'm alive. Go. Are you Yura?
Stop recording right now.
Late on a frigid night in February 2019, 18-year-old Alexis Stern was driving near her hometown of Big Lake, Minnesota, when she says she noticed a white van in her rearview mirror.
So we started driving around town, taking detours.
But the van stuck with her. In a growing panic, she called authorities, who later located and spoke with the van's driver.
He claimed he was lost. He didn't know where he was.
You have no doubt you were being followed, right?
Yeah.
Alexis had every reason to be worried because of something that had happened just months earlier when, out of nowhere, the police had called her.
We have to talk to you. It's dire and you need to come now.
It's dire, he says.
Yes, he said it was urgent. I had no idea what to expect. Did someone die? Is someone hurt? Like, am I in trouble?
When Alexis arrived at the police station, she got stunning news.
He was just like, I think you should sit down. Someone put a hit out on you and they want you dead. I was like, this is a joke, right?
It was not a joke. On the dark web, someone using the alias Mastermind365 had gone to a hitman for hire site and paid about $5,000 worth of Bitcoin for Alexis to be assassinated, giving chilling details.
Where I lived, where I worked, a picture of me, a description of me, everything.
FBI and Homeland Security agents soon got involved. Although many dark web sites are scams, Alexis knew someone out there wanted her dead.
And that terrified me.
Authorities promised to investigate. The aspiring horror book author had read about the dark web, a hidden online marketplace where criminality ranging from human trafficking to illegal weapons is advertised for sale, even murder.
The more you start to dig, the darker it starts to get.
It was in 2017 that 48 Hours first investigated dark web murder for hire. The next year, we exposed about 20 active murder plots.
Police received a tip from the CBS News program 48 Hours.
48 Hours alerted law enforcement, leading to arrests in 2 states and 2 foreign countries. Our investigation also led us to this mysterious figure known as Yura, who has been operating hitman sites for about 5 years. We don't know his real name or location, but he sent us these video diaries.
I am doing this video diary entry to give you official statements.
Looking for criminals on the dark web is not for the faint of heart.
For most of her career, this woman has lived in the shadows.
I was a member of the intelligence community.
Now, she's a CBS News consultant who we hired to help us look for Yura.
What makes it challenging is this isn't your traditional law enforcement investigation where there's DNA and there's fingerprints and a weapon and a crime scene.
Lisa, as we'll call her, has altered her appearance for this interview.
In the world of the dark web, DNA is email addresses, usernames, passwords.
Lisa analyzed Yura's writings.
His English is very good.
But she says the evidence suggests he is foreign-born and doesn't work alone.
There's definitely some support.
She says the murder-for-hire sites are all about making big money, and that she found millions of dollars of profits in an online account she believes is linked to Yura.
Upwards of, I think, 5 million.
Apparently, about $5,000 of those profits was allegedly paid to kill Alexis Stern. When her parents found out, they weren't taking any chances.
You left Minnesota?
Yes. We just started driving. It was scary.
But who would want her dead? Alexis thought she knew. Back in 2016, she was a high school sophomore, struggling with her self-esteem. She was just 15 when a friend introduced her to an older man online.
I ended up meeting a guy named Adrian.
Adrian Fry.
Yes, Adrian Fry.
She was intrigued to learn that Adrian Fry lived in England.
I was always partial to British accents, so I thought it was kind of a bonus.
Adrian was 20. He said he was training to be an accountant and liked to stream video games online. His screen name, Rocket Wind.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rocket Wind, and welcome to another Patch Notes.
I wanted to have a boyfriend, and it was the perfect opportunity.
In August of 2016, Fry flew to Minnesota and got a hotel room near her house.
This is Adrian right here.
Yes.
Do your parents have any idea this is going on?
No, they had no idea.
The two began a relationship. Alexis had just turned 16.
He was already pretty much talking about getting married, honestly. He was 100% set on being with me.
Adrian Fry visited Alexis twice more, in the summer of 2017 and in the spring of 2018. She says her feelings were changing.
He really started trying to control my normal everyday life.
They had considered themselves a couple for about 2 years when Alexis told Adrian it was over.
He freaked out. He did not like that at all. It was a lot of pleading, a lot of begging.
A few months later, when she told him she had a new boyfriend, she says he became angry.
Pretty much saying, you deserve everything horrible that happens to you.
Do you sense that he's basically sending you a message?
100%.
And what is that message?
That it's not going to end that great for me. Someone could sneak into the house and kill me. I could be killed on my way home from school.
We asked Alexis Stern to read the disturbing emails between the person who wanted her dead, codenamed Mastermind 365, and Yura, the alleged murder-for-hire kingpin on the dark web.
I can see on your website that the services you offer are murder, assault, and arson. A kidnapping is the job that I had in mind.
Mastermind 365 sent this picture of Alexis to Yura. Then, for some reason, about a week later, he upgraded his order from kidnapping to I would just like this person dead.
I would just like this person to be shot and killed.
It was another cold and clinical Minnesota hit order that triggered our original dark web murder for hire investigation. In 2016, a 43-year-old dog trainer named Amy Allwine was killed in nearby Cottage Grove. Police questioned her husband, Stephen.
We're a normal family. There's nothing unique, nothing strange.
Like Mastermind 365, Stephen Allwine had paid Yura thousands of dollars to arrange a hit. When it didn't happen, Allwine took matters into his own hands and shot his wife in the head. In 2018, he was convicted of murder.
Do you have any doubt in your mind who put out the contract on your life?
I have no doubt in my mind that it is Adrian Fry.
Adrian Fry, her ex-boyfriend from England. When she saw the kill order dated July 15th, she says the timing suddenly made sense to her.
What had happened the day before, July 14th?
That is when I told Adrian that I was dating someone else.
And it wasn't just the timing of the hit order. She says it was the language, too.
It sounds very British. I would just like this person dead, but if there's any more information you would like, inbox me. I don't know anyone in America that uses the term inbox me. Adrian, on the other hand, often would say that.
Alexis noticed Mastermind 365 sometimes referred to himself with a lowercase I. She says when Adrian wrote her, he did the same thing. She also saw that Mastermind 365 wrote thank you as one word. In Adrian's messages to her, he'd done that too. It's a quirk that would become more significant later in our investigation. And there was more.
Mastermind 365 to Yura. My problem is that I don't currently have an extra $5,000, but I will have it in about a week's time. This part is from Adrian to me. If there is a chance you may like me in years' time, then I will happily wait.
The phrases week's time and year's time are common in British English. In writing them, both Mastermind 365 and Adrian Fry had left off an apostrophe.
So there's a couple of phrases that matches Adrian's patterns.
Yes.
She also realized Mastermind 365 seemed to have grown impatient with Yura over time. And that's when she saw one particular message that sent a shiver up her spine.
Do you guys sell guns? I need a pistol with a silencer.
He's asked Yura to help him get a gun with a silencer. What does that tell you?
It sounds like he is willing to take matters into his own hands if it doesn't get done.
Just like Stephen Allwine. And that's what worries our dark web expert, Lisa. She believes Yura's websites are a scam and that frustrated clients may be moved to violence.
The fact that he's a scammer as opposed to an actual hitman for hire provider does not remove the fact that he is a threat or is a criminal.
There are people out there who believe it is a real hitman website.
Alexis Stern says after more than a year with little apparent progress on her case, she became frustrated and agreed to try her luck with us.
I decided I might as well take a chance and see what 48 hours can help me with. Give me a second.
She is determined to see justice catch up to the man she says ordered her murder and the person who promised to arrange it.
Lisa, we have always thought in our investigation that Yura must live overseas. Are we right?
No, Peter. Yura might live right here in New York City.
Hitman Marketplace is like any other auction site. It brings customers and vendors together.
He's still out there somewhere, the cyber ghost Yura. Still uncatchable in a hidden world. Still a confounding mystery. It's probably no surprise that our global manhunt for Yura began on a computer.
So I've ventured into a very strange place. For the first time in my life, the dark web.
In 2018, we wrote to him on his website asking for an interview. Much to our surprise, he agreed to sit down with us on camera in London. We were already there to interview a self-styled cybercrime researcher named Chris Montero, who'd been monitoring Yura and his hitman sites for more than 3 years.
And sort of people attracted to the website are very, very nasty individuals.
So we've flown from New York to London, rented this studio. You can see the lights behind me for the big interview. And we even brought in a master of disguise who's going to camouflage Yura's face. Now all we need is him.
The elusive Yura never showed up, claiming we could have been followed by police. But he did start sending us those video statements.
We will be waiting for you to come place your orders and get rid of your problems.
Yura, who seems to enjoy
taunting 48 Hours, sent us this email in June 2019. Unfortunately, after your show, the business has decreased tremendously. People concluded that the site is a scam. Yura even
claimed he's going legit, moving away from the murder-for-hire sites into the real world. I opened a restaurant business and I live nice.
Lisa, our dark web expert, doubts Yura has left his criminal past behind.
He's still very much in business.
He's still working.
Absolutely.
And as the cases of Amy Allwine and Alexa Stern show, even if Yura's hitman sites are scams, the customers paying him to have people killed are horrifyingly real.
A lot of people want other people killed.
Correct.
All across the United States.
And the world, yes.
Lisa is determined to unmask Yura.
Everyone can be found. Yura can be found.
And she quickly spotted her first clue. A massive trail of hacked digital data. Digging through that treasure trove, Lisa believes she's unearthed a few gold nuggets.
Hi, this is Yura again.
Including Yura's likely password from one of his early murder-for-hire sites.
In this case, we've got this very unique password of Frunza22.
Frunza 22. So this sounds like a lead.
From a digital forensics perspective, this is a huge lead.
Lisa immediately launched a worldwide search across the dark web and the regular internet for that password possibly linked to Yura. In a matter of hours, she zeroed in on 2 hits from different sides of the planet.
Just on the Google search, Frunza22 actually led us to Moldova, of all places.
The Republic of Moldova, a former Soviet state in Eastern Europe. There's a village here called Frunza. It's also a common last name.
Frunza22 gave us all this intelligence with which to work with and narrow down who Yura possibly could be.
Lisa discovered that the online seller of this car in Moldova had also used Frunza22. Could there be a link?
The license plate for this car obviously gives us more information.
Do you have an answer yet as to who owns this vehicle?
Unfortunately, we do not. We're coordinating with people on the ground in Moldova to see who this car is actually registered to.
But the most compelling clue, Lisa says, connects Yura's possible password to a standard email address here in the United States.
I was able to identify that with a very high probability with an older Russian woman in New York.
Lisa thinks the woman could be Yura's relative. The cyber search for Yura and his anonymous dark web connections will involve a tedious, time-consuming process of following digital breadcrumbs.
One piece of evidence stands on its own, and you look at it as a breadcrumb and you try to chase that for a bit, and then you find another breadcrumb. And collectively, when you start to add all of these things up, you have a higher confidence assessment.
I keep my identity private. Everything that could help with recognition.
As our global hunt for Yura intensifies, we're reminded that his borderless reach from the bottom of the internet has left shattered lives in his wake. Amy Allwine murdered, and others marked for death, living in perpetual fear.
There are people around the world in danger, and I had to do something about it.
What Chris Montero did was secretly hack into Yura's websites, dredging up disturbing emails from clients ordering grisly hits, and passing them on to 48 Hours. We immediately informed law enforcement. 3 cases we investigated in 2018 in Illinois, Tennessee, and California have led to explosive conclusions.
Do you understand the terror that you have caused?
Woodridge, Illinois. Tina Jones, a registered nurse, got involved with a married colleague. When he ended the affair, she allegedly paid Yura about $12,000 to kill the man's wife.
18 CF 809, Tina Jones.
Miss Jones, present and approaching the bench.
This was a nurse, someone who saves lives.
Truth really is stranger than fiction. So,
Woodridge Police Sergeant Daniel Murray, acting on the 48 Hours tip, brought a chillingly calm Tina Jones in for questioning.
the easier it'll go for everybody involved. So I'm just going to ask you right now, did you make any threat or did you try to have somebody do something on your behalf to Jeff's wife?
No.
Okay. You sure about that?
Yeah.
Pause. You buying it?
No.
Why not?
She just doesn't come off as believable.
I really don't know.
Okay.
Moments later, the truth.
But you got to tell me now.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Tina Jones just pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree murder in exchange.
In August 2019, Tina Jones learned her fate. She will spend the next 10 years in prison.
418 Alpha Central.
48 Hours also tipped off Detective Michael Ulrey in Clarksville, Tennessee, who broke the news to then 22-year-old Sydney Minor.
I got you.
A single mom.
Someone went on the dark web. There is a murder for hire website, and someone has paid to have you murdered.
What?
Sydney, who was pregnant with her second child, quickly identified the father of her unborn baby as a suspect, Brandon States. Sydney says he had pressured her to get an abortion.
He's married. Didn't know it at the time.
The only person in our mind was Brandon States.
Because?
Because it was his child, and she refused to get rid of the child.
Brandon States eventually pleaded guilty to attempted premeditated murder. In March 2019, the Army specialist was sentenced by a military court to 15 years in Fort Leavenworth. By his final court hearing, Sydney had given birth to a little girl named Sailor. Brandon States asked to meet his daughter before going to prison. Sydney reluctantly agreed and handed the little girl to the man who had paid money to kill them both.
Give me a sense of what was going through your mind at that moment.
Fear. A lot of fear. She had to meet him in a courtroom with police officers and armed guards. I told him, I'll never forgive you for what you've done.
Around the same time, in San Luis Obispo, California, this man awaits trial.
We know that you wanted your stepmother murdered, but we don't know why. Why did you do it?
In late 2019, Bo Brigham, a one-time YouTube star,
I never did it for the money. I did it because I had a lot of time on my hands.
Is on trial for solicitation of murder after 48 hours tipped authorities to his case. In 2018, Brigham allegedly had paid Yura to arrange the assassination of his stepmother. During questioning by detectives, he seemed to acknowledge ordering the hit.
I remember going on some stupid site, and then I was in a rage just sending a bunch of stuff.
I do not deny he went to the site. I absolutely deny that he had any intention whatsoever of hurting his stepmother.
Defense attorney Ilan Funky Bilu says Brigham wasn't serious. Evidence shows Brigham paid less than $3 in Bitcoin toward the $5,000 hit.
If there was true intent, it wouldn't stop at $2.95.
After nearly 3 weeks of testimony, it takes the jury 7 hours to find Brigham guilty of solicitation of murder. And a month later,
So I just came out of the courtroom. He was sentenced to just 3 years in state prison.
but with credit for time served, he was released in January 2020. Alexis Stern is frustrated that in her case, there hasn't even been an arrest. 48 Hours tracked her ex-boyfriend, Adrian Fry, to this house in the city of Bath, England. And we're watching the place. So far, he hasn't emerged.
A hitman marketplace is like any other auction site.
The man who took the kill order Adrian allegedly made is still at large too. But Lisa says finding Yura may partly depend on exposing and flipping the people who work with him.
Everyone has a network, right?
We uncovered information about an important thread in Yura's web. A thread stretching all the way to the sprawling city of Kolkata, India, and a computer contractor named Santosh Sharma.
Yura contracted Santosh Sharma to assist him with digital marketing and promotion of his.
Yura had become so brazen, he actually was promoting his dark web sites on the regular internet by hiring a marketing specialist. Our producer in India, Arshad Zargar, spent weeks looking for Sharma.
But we managed to track down both his addresses.
We tipped authorities who summoned Sharma to the police station. After they questioned him, Sharma agreed to an interview with us. We asked him about the sites he created on the regular internet to advertise Yura's sites on the dark web.
What are the websites then you created for him?
I have created murderforhire.com, besamafia.com, hireahitman.com.
He insisted he was just an everyday internet marketer, hired on a freelance job.
Have you ever spoken to him?
No. I just chat with him, chat and email. I have asked her phone number, how he didn't send me.
He said they're not in touch at all anymore, and that he doesn't know Yura's real name or location, but wishes he did, because Yura scammed him too.
Yura still owes him about $400, and he has been trying to get in touch with him, asking for the money.
Sharma was released without charges, but hacker Chris Montero says Yura's operations took a body blow.
The work of 48 Hours investigating Santosh Sharma in India, that was very important in shutting down his advertising operations.
Lisa wants to see Yura shut down completely, and she believes she's getting close to finding him.
And it'll be right up here, right on the right.
I'm gonna drop my head down. My heart is racing.
And we're closing in on Adrian Fry, too. He lives in this house west of London.
Here we go. Let's see what happens. Hey, good evening.
We staked out Adrian Fry's house in England. The young man Alexis believes ordered her murder and asked Yura about obtaining a gun. For days, it seemed like nobody was home. Then one night in February 2020, take a look at this. A car has pulled up in front of the house. So we're gonna head over now and go knock on the door.
Go, let's see what happens.
And see if we can speak face to face with Adrian Fry.
Hey, good evening. My name is Peter Van Sant. I was wondering if Adrian's here.
Adrian's brother answered the door, saying Adrian was visiting friends. He gave us the name of a nearby town, and we went to check it out, but couldn't find him.
Would you ever meet with Adrian Fry again?
Not unless he's behind bars.
But that now seems unlikely. In November 2019, Alexis Stern received a letter from the FBI saying the case was being closed because the United States Attorney's Office has declined to prosecute. But authorities never explained why the case was dropped and refused to tell 48 Hours what, if anything, they had ever done to investigate Adrian Fry or Yura.
To all law enforcement, just try and close our site if you can.
In our own 2-year global search for Yura, we'd been stood up in the UK.
What did he say?
I don't think he's coming.
Found Yura's marketing guru in India.
I have created murderforhire.com, besamafia.com.
But not Yura himself. And hit a dead end with that car ad in Moldova, where we had hired a local researcher to track down the owner. Lisa now believes it's just a coincidence that Frunze 22 appeared in the car ad.
There's no direct correlation.
In January 2020, we followed Lisa's lead to a woman in New York City who Lisa now believes is Yura's mother-in-law.
We've just left Manhattan. Where are we heading?
Queens. Maybe we'll find Yura.
I hope so.
It took 3 months of digging through digital clues for Lisa to uncover what she calls strong evidence against the man she now believes is Yura. It includes a link to that unusual password, Frunze 22. And 48 Hours discovered an email address that included gun and killer connected to the man Lisa found in New York City.
It was enough to make me pause when I saw that email address.
Lisa believes the man had moved to the U.S. from overseas in the 1990s and now owns a large repair business, registered some kind of tech company, and most recently bought a restaurant.
I have high confidence that this man is very likely Yura.
What's that confidence level if you put it in a percentage?
75 to 80, which is in intelligence terms quite high.
Lisa says there's no such thing as 100% certainty on the secretive dark web. That's why we decided not to name the man or show his face.
And we're in a position where we can take a look down a sidewalk and see if he approaches.
We spotted him on a public sidewalk.
That's him. Wow, go. Hey, how you doing? I'm Peter Van Sant with CBS News, and we have some questions we'd like to get answered if we may.
That's him.
Our investigation of murder for hire on the dark web has led us here, and I wanted to ask you, are you Yura?
Who?
Yura.
I don't know who you're talking about. My name is...
Yura is a person who runs has run various murder-for-hire sites on the dark web.
What are you talking about? Can you explain yourself?
I then asked him about Frunza 22, that potentially incriminating password.
How do you explain that on the Besa Mafia website, the administrator uses a password, Frunza 22?
Lisa says to pay special attention to the man's reaction after I mentioned the password.
The minute you hit him with the evidence, that is the key piece of evidence in this case.
Password.
The password. He immediately then shuts down and starts going, no, 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 I don't want to be here.
He then did something I've never seen before.
Before we start anything, I want to make sure the whole world knows what's going on.
He started streaming our conversation live on Facebook, where he began speaking more to his followers than to me.
What's up, guys? Something is going on. I got some guys over here.
This in itself is taking control of the communication. He wants his words and his voice to be heard and not yours.
You can answer my question.
There's no Yuras here.
We also tried to ask the man about another striking similarity between him and Yura in the real world.
Well, Yura wrote us and said that he'd recently taken his money and opened a new restaurant, which you've done that.
And what restaurant are you talking about again?
This restaurant, not far from where we met him. He opened the place in 2018. Just 6 months later, Yura wrote 48 Hours that he had done the same.
Do you run these murder-for-hire websites?
He's calling me some stupid names. Stop recording right now.
As his anger grew,
I'm gonna smack the out of your camera right now, I'm telling you.
The man suddenly made us an offer. No cameras allowed.
Do you have any idea who is Yura?
I have no idea who's Yura is. You want to talk to me privately? Let's go to the office, me and you sit down, we'll talk. Without this.
I turned him down because the situation was starting to feel dangerous.
Oh, hey, guys.
And our conversation
who you think you are?
I'm just
telling you, who you think you are? You make
was about to take a major hit.
I'm a reporter, investigative reporter that's been following this for over a year.
Hey, come on now, don't do that.
That was just on video. That could be an assault. Don't do this. Don't do this.
You're assaulting me right now.
I'm asking you a question.
Yes, we need the police to be. Yes,
sir, you hit me. I just see my.
I didn't hit you.
You did. You hit my camera.
I hit your camera, and you did it with your own hands.
We quickly left the scene.
They chickened out, ran away.
And the man, still angry, continued to stream live.
Stupid website. Some freak created something, used my identity.
Someone's using my identity. He's confirming that the information that we've presented to him is legit.
Yes, I'm asking you a question.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Based on all of the evidence that has been accumulated, my confidence is still quite high.
In fact, she says, having seen the video, it's even higher.
Around 80 to 90%.
Over the next 2 weeks, we reached out to the man 4 times, requesting an on-camera interview at CBS News.
Do give a call back and let us know your decision.
We were eager to hear any explanation for the apparent links between him and Yura. He apologized for his actions.
Who you think you are?
But never sat down on camera.
Adrian, this is Peter Van Sant, correspondent
Neither
with 48
did
Hours.
Adrian Fry, though he did text us.
Hi, Peter. I can assure you that I did not go onto the online web to hire a hitman or anyone to kill Alexis.
But it was his last text, declining our interview request, that startled us. Thank you for the opportunity, he wrote. We realized that just like Mastermind 365, Adrian had once again written thank you as one word.
"48 Hours. Don't miss an episode."
Not a day. Since I was 12 years old have I not thought about my sister. Danni, that day in September of 1996, Danni disappeared. My name is Stephanie. Danni was my older sister.
Hi, Mom.
Danni was 15 years old, the kind of older sister that every little sister looks up to.
Nice stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're sitting there. He's like, come on, let's try.
She was upset with my parents and needed some space to herself. Danielle had gone out to Cameron Bridge.
And she was familiar with this area?
Absolutely. Danni didn't return home, and Mother grew deeply concerned. And so she and one of her friends drove out to Cameron Bridge to see what was going on. My mom and her friend walked around calling Danni's name and called the sheriff's department and reported her missing. And a search party was being pulled together.
Everybody's calling out her name?
Yep.
So if you were out here, you can hear them in the distance. Danni, Danni, right?
Yep. If she's out here, we just want her to come home.
615.
7:30 to 8 started to get dark enough to where I called off the search.
Family friends came out after dark.
That was about 9:30 when the dispatcher called me and said they found her body.
How were you informed that Danni was gone?
I was at home. My dad came home and told my mom, and I could hear him telling her that Danni was gone. And she said, I know, they're gonna look again in the morning. As soon as it's light, they'll be back out there looking for her. They're gonna find her. They're gonna find her. And he said, no, honey, they found her. She's gone. She was strong and she was brave. And she was everything I looked up to being.
.656 to the Fish and Game at Cameron Bridge. Go ahead.
Law enforcement didn't tell my family a lot in 1996.
There was never a doubt in my mind that someone killed this 15-year-old girl.
From the instant you saw her body?
From the moment I saw her. 15-year-old girls don't die in the swamps at night.
It took almost 30 years, but I had to know.
I spent 27 years on the Los Angeles Police Department, and when I retired, I moved here to Bozeman, Montana.
What did you think of the original investigation into Danni's death?
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
So I know where the body was?
There is zero doubt in my mind that they lied to my family.
I told Stephanie, I will solve this case, Stephanie.
I promised myself, I promised my sister, I'm coming for you, Danni. I never would have guessed how this ended.
It was the end of September 1996, a Saturday night, a fishing area just outside of Bozeman, Montana, a place of tranquility until this night. A few miles up a rural highway near the small town of Belgrade, searchers discovered the body of 15-year-old Danni Houchins.
What brought your sister, Danni, down to this area back on September 21st, 1996?
That morning, we had kind of a family spat.
Stephanie Mollett was Danni's little sister.
And so she got 15-year-old mad about it and needed some space and some time, and she had her driver's license.
Now, people wonder, how does a 15-year-old get a driver's license?
In the state of Montana in 1996, you actually got your driver's license at 15. She was a very proud driver, so.
She hops into her Chevy pickup truck, and
gets.
Why would she come to this place if she wanted to just kind of take a break?
It's peaceful.
After Danni's pickup truck was located, a sheriff's posse had searched this wilderness for Danni until it got too dark. But that same night, two brothers, friends of the Houchins family, refused to call it quits.
So they came down this very path at night with their flashlights?
That's right.
They would have crossed this bridge, right?
Somehow, in the dense, muddy woods, they found her body.
The body, I believe, Peter, was right in this area when she was found.
Right in here?
Yes.
Keith Farquhar, then a Gallatin County Sheriff's deputy, was the first officer on the scene. In the first hours after Danni was found, no one was really sure what had happened to her.
Did this look like an accident scene or something else?
Something entirely different. There's nothing here then or now that would suggest a 15-year-old girl should all of a sudden be face down in a small amount of water and mud and be dead. She's a mountain kid.
And is it possible to put into words the shock and horror of that moment?
It's like everything you knew doesn't exist anymore. To not understand how that could have happened, and to just feel a gaping hole in your whole being.
Rochelle Schrute went to school with Stephanie and Danni.
And I always thought Stephanie and Danni were super cool. Danni was like my friend's cool older sister. They were the most down-to-earth, friendly people.
The sisters loved the Montana wilderness.
She is pretty. This is like a nature playground out here, and our family, we just played.
A classic Montana girl, right? She could fish, she hiked, she could ski.
And Danni was smart.
She loved science. She was so interested in the way that the world worked.
And she had a sense of humor, right?
Yeah.
Danni, that is really nice. Isn't she lovely? Yeah. Look at your lovely daughter here.
She was witty and she was funny, and everyone loved her.
Danni?
She'd make humor at her own expense.
See my nose? Here's my eye.
How quickly did word spread that Danni had been found and that she was dead?
Oh, like wildfire.
It was a lot of shock. You know, learning about Danni dying, it came in stages. You know, there were the rumors all of a sudden of somebody died. Initially, I had just heard somebody drowned.
While Danni's family was awaiting an official cause of death, everyone, it seemed, from first responder Keith Farquhar to folks all over town, were speculating about what had happened.
Small town Montana, if you haven't heard a rumor by 10 o'clock in the morning, you're going to start one.
The rumors started flying of maybe it was a murder. And then we're all like, what?
And if it was a murder, who would want to end this young girl's life? And was there a killer on the loose?
It just was like this strange roller coaster of, should we be worried as a community?
I think the rumor mill around Belgrade High School was ruthless.
There was so much other speculation. I remember thinking, man, what if? What if? just caused fear.
I tried to be strong. Danny died on a Saturday, and I tried to go back to school on Monday. I thought that if I was strong, then it'd be easier for my parents.
But within days, the family's grief would turn to heartbreaking shock when they heard the sheriff's department's jaw-dropping announcement about how Danny died.
We just couldn't believe what they told us. It didn't make any sense.
Just 2 days after the discovery of Danny's body, with the people of Belgrade, Montana fearful and demanding answers, authorities released the partial findings of Danny's autopsy. They did not say Danny was murdered. Her manner of death was undetermined. Her family was dumbfounded.
They told us that she drowned, and they told us that it really could have been an accident.
The sheriff told the media that there were no cuts or bruises on Danny's body and no indications of foul play.
She could have just tripped and fell. We don't really know.
Tripped and fell.
Uh-huh.
And as avid, experienced outdoors people, even at 12, you thought that was absurd.
Absurd.
What the family didn't know at the time was the coroner said Danny had inhaled both water and mud into her airways. The family also didn't know that there were bruises and cuts on Danny's body and signs of possible sexual assault. The sheriff back then, Bill Slaughter, told us it is often common for investigators to withhold key details to protect their investigations, as they looked into potential suspects, including people who were close to Danny.
Common sense says this girl was not an accidental death.
Caught in the middle of this controversy was Deputy Keith Farquhar, then a young patrolman. He was assigned to work with detectives on the case. Keith spoke with Danny's doctor.
He said there's nothing about her physical condition that would have prevented that girl from being able to roll over in a few inches of water and mud to breathe if she had just fallen, if this was an accident.
But when Farquhar tried to report the doctor's opinion to other investigators,
I was pretty much ridiculed by the sheriff.
What did he say?
He said, "What the does a doctor know?" And that statement sticks in my mind to this day.
the former sheriff, Bill Slaughter, denies Farquhar's allegations. He says Farquhar was a disgruntled employee and that his department never ignored any evidence. Fed up and disillusioned, just 3 months after Danny's death, Farquhar resigned from the sheriff's office. As years passed, Danny's family tried to accept that her death might have been an accident.
As all that time, weeks to months to years go by and you have no answers, what was that like?
Traumatizing. It was having a big wound in your life and this big gap that was unexplainable, and you somehow had to find a way to heal without answers, to live without resolution, to hope with no reason to hope.
Until 24 years after Danny's death. Matt Boxmeyer was a detective sergeant with Gallatin County. He took an interest in Danny Houchins and her family.
I found out that they really hadn't been given much information back in 1996 regarding the investigation, which is not uncommon with investigations. You don't openly talk about them with the family usually. They'd been told that she had fallen down and drowned, and it was marked as accidental.
Boxmeyer also found out that there had been several efforts over the years to get evidence analyzed by the Montana State Crime Lab. But after each attempt, nothing. No usable DNA profile ever came back. So he was starting from scratch. Meantime, Stephanie decided to turn up the pressure.
I had been calling the sheriff's department, trying to get someone to talk to me about Danny's case.
Finally, Boxmeyer and his bosses made a decision.
They deserved some answers.
They told the family that Danny's death was no accident.
I shared with them that I believe that it was a homicide.
Homicide. Stephanie then demanded to read the autopsy and look at the crime scene photos.
I was so angry at the people who lied to my family and let my sister's murder go unsolved but uninvestigated for all of these years. I learned that rather than drowning on just water, Danny's head had been held down in the mud. She had mud all the way down into her lungs and into her stomach. There was subcutaneous bruising on the back of her neck. Someone had held her head down forcefully. There was vaginal injuries. There was semen in her underwear. She had fought and scratched.
This is like a nuclear bomb going off emotionally, I would think, for this family and for you.
I remember asking them, so you mean to tell me that in fact my sister was raped? And they said, yes, we believe she was raped. I remember not being able to breathe. I remember feeling like I needed to puke.
In 2021, with Danny's family now knowing the explosive truth, solving Danny's murder would become a top priority for newly appointed sheriff Dan Springer.
You were rookie deputy when this crime came down, right?
Yes, 5 days after I started is when we found Danny's body. When you become the boss, you get to decide to do things the way you want to do things. I felt like, well, this is our time. Let's go get some answers.
Sheriff Springer reached out to Stephanie.
And I told her, I am making a promise that we will find an answer to this case.
Now determined to set things right, Springer reached outside the department to a most unusual investigator, Tom Elfmont.
I'm very persistent. I have a bulldog personality. I just don't give up on something. I just don't do it.
He'd spent a lifetime in tough jobs, from a soldier in Vietnam to a cop working the streets of LA.
I wanted to put bad people in jail.
And after a conversation with Sheriff Springer, he was also drawn to Danny's case.
She was a great kid. And the way she died, I get choked up about this a little bit, really, to this day, bothers me. And so when they said, would you like to work the case? I said, yes, I want to work the case.
I, of course, internet stalked him immediately and came to find out that he's like the man that never retires.
I told Stephanie, I will solve this case, Stephanie. And she said, okay, I'm going to trust you.
And with Elfmont leading the way, he soon found a suspect.
Why do I know that name? Like, it sounds so familiar, but it took a little bit of time for it to go, oh no, oh no, oh my gosh, no way.
Did you ever think, coming out here in the mountains outside Bozeman, Montana, that you'd be going back to work as a homicide investigator here?
Never. No, I never thought so.
By mid-2023, retired LAPD Captain Tom Elfmont was back to working full-time, committed to finding Danny Houchin's killer.
The only reason I stayed in it was Danny.
For Danny's sister, Stephanie, Elfmont's refreshing dedication, professionalism, and enthusiasm was what the case had always needed.
What does Tom do?
Tom got to work. Tom worked on Danny's case every day. He went through and re-examined all of the evidence.
Elfmont had access to everything, including a list of potential suspects from the old case file and that previously tested clothing that Danny had been wearing when she was found.
He, most importantly, made sure that DNA got tested.
Elfmont asked the Montana State Crime Lab to use their newest technology to retest the semen on Danny's underwear. At last, a breakthrough, a partial DNA profile. But there were no matches to names in the case file. And when Elfmont compared it to CODIS, the vast federal digital repository of DNA samples from convicted felons,
we didn't get any hits.
But Elfmont was undeterred and decided to go a less conventional route. He turned to genetic genealogy, and investigative genealogist Cece Moore.
Since I started working with law enforcement in 2018, I've been able to help solve over 325 cases.
Moore is an expert at building out family trees from DNA samples, using information from popular genealogy websites, bringing cold cases back to life. But to solve this case, Moore needed a special type of DNA profile. Problem was, they didn't have enough DNA from that semen.
We have to start from scratch, which means there has to be remaining biological evidence for us to go back and retest using more advanced technology.
Elfmont did have more evidence for retesting. 4 male hairs that had been found on Danny, which had been perfectly preserved for 27 years. They had never yielded any usable DNA because they were rootless hairs without any skin cells. But Elfmont asked around and connected with Australia Forensics, a state-of-the-art private lab that's at the forefront of extracting DNA from previously unattainable genetic matter. As if there wasn't enough drama in this case, the first 2 hairs Australia tested produced nothing usable.
So the last 2 hairs are examined. Are they able to get a profile?
Yes, in the last hair. Oh, I was so excited.
It was a critical breakthrough. Elfmont got permission from a judge to compare this enhanced DNA profile to samples in popular genealogy databases, where people voluntarily submit their DNA profiles. By spring 2024, Cece had what she needed to get to work.
I'm looking for patterns, commonalities, overlaps, eventually common ancestors.
Moore was able to identify the great-grandparents on both sides of the suspect's family tree. She then found one marriage that proved decisive.
The couple that I finally zeroed in on, they had a lot of children,
including 3 sons. Moore felt like she had to be close, but there was a problem.
What was really confounding was that everybody lived in New Hampshire. Yet the mystery was, what was the link to Montana?
Moore scoured through the birth indexes, marriage certificates, and even social media of those sons.
When I finally got to the youngest son's Facebook page, he had posted that he moved to Bozeman, Montana on July 1st, 1996.
Remember, Danny had been murdered in September 1996.
Finally, all the pieces fell into place. On May 1st, 2024, I called up the detectives to let them know that I believed I had identified Danny's killer.
Finally, after nearly 28 years, it was now time for Elfmont to call Stephanie and give her the momentous news.
We've found Danny's killer, and he is alive, and we are going to make a case against him.
The suspect was Paul Hutchinson, a married father of 2 who Elfmont soon learned was widely known and respected in local hunting and fishing circles.
We learned that he's been working for the Bureau of Land Management in Dillon, Montana for 22 years as a fisheries biologist. He was a big outdoorsman, bow hunter, rifle hunter, fisherman, trapper.
And incredibly, it turned out Stephanie's childhood friend, Rochelle Schrute, knew Paul Hutchinson. He was a trusted mentor who she had first met in the early 2000s.
Paul came across as just an under-the-radar person that was always so kind of calm and quiet. He was just so utterly unremarkable.
Stephanie Mollett had spent years dreaming of the day someone would be held responsible for her sister's murder. That day, that dream, seemed to be finally coming true.
It was the moment at which I knew that everything I had put into my fight for my sister had been worth it.
Back in September 1996, suspect Paul Hutchinson was 27 years old. He had served in the Marine Corps, then moved to Bozeman to study at Montana State University, just 13 miles from where Danny's body was discovered.
When he was at Montana State, he had a work-study. He worked for the Fish and Wildlife Service, which would have put him on the waterways around Belgrade.
Where on September 21st, 1996, Danny ended up on a hike.
That's correct.
Do you think your sister Danny knew Paul Hutchinson?
No. Paul Hutchinson was a stranger to Danny. There's no way that she would have known him.
But many people in the area did know Hutchinson through his passion for hunting and fishing and high-profile government job.
He just was like this respected source of information in the hunting and fishing space.
Rochelle knew Hutchinson for years. She's an expert hunter and former Yellowstone park guide, and is now the hunt and fish editor for GearJunkie.com.
I think I would have considered him a friend. You know, if we were doing some sort of hunt camp, I would have not even thought twice about inviting him.
Rochelle says she never once questioned Hutchinson's integrity, even when she went on fishing trips with him, just the two of them, out in the middle of nowhere.
I've always trusted my gut instinct when it comes to people, especially men. I never had any feeling that he was unsafe.
Though she hadn't seen Hutchinson in years, Rochelle kept up with him online. He would often post on message boards about hunting trips he had taken across the country.
Paul was super active in the hunting community. It seemed like he was constantly hunting, always sharing where he was headed or where he just got back from.
Hutchinson had no criminal record. By all accounts, he had been leading a quiet existence since 1996.
And what did you know about his family life?
Well, we knew that he had a wife and a daughter and a son.
And he lived just a few hours away.
And Dillon, Montana, how far is that from Bozeman?
140 miles.
Elfmont knew he couldn't make an arrest until he got Hutchinson's DNA, which he was working out how to get. In the meantime, Montana law did allow Elfmont to talk to Hutchinson with some conditions.
It just basically has to be in a public area where he can walk away anytime he wants to.
So on July 23rd, 2024, Elfmont and another detective drove down to Hutchinson's office at the Bureau of Land Management in Dillon, Montana, with a body camera rolling.
We saw Paul come in and get out of his pickup, and then we started walking up, and I got up about 10 feet from Paul, and I said,
"Hey, Paul. How you doing?" Good. Good. My name's Tom Elfmont. I'm with the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office. Hey, guys.
They came ready with a clever excuse for why they wanted to speak with Hutchinson, hoping it wouldn't raise his suspicions.
We wanted to talk to you. We've been talking to some fisheries people, about some things that have been going on here at the rivers in southwest Montana. Okay.
I explained to him that we're investigating some cases up and down the rivers, and so we want to talk to people that are experts.
Right at the start, they caught a break, thanks to an unusually scorching hot day.
It was 98 that day in Dillon. He said, let's go inside.
You guys want to come inside and talk? That'd be great, man.
If he invites us in, we don't have to give him Miranda. So we go inside. He takes us in a small conference room.
While they didn't ask about Danny Houchins right away, Elfmont says he could tell Hutchinson was nervous.
So I appreciate you sitting down with us. Glad to help. What's up?
And he breaks into a sweat. It's just his head starts sweating, and he asks, can I leave?
Can you give me a second? Absolutely.
Hutchinson said he had to go help a coworker. When he returned, they asked him about the other cases.
So I had pictures of 4 women that died, one in a river in Idaho, 2 over on the Yellowstone, and then Danny.
Elfmont's partner, Court Depwig, took over the conversation.
Okay, this is Daniel Houchins. She was killed in September of '96. Okay. And she was found off the Gallatin River. Did you ever fish up there? I trapped on the Gallatin. Have you ever heard of the Cameron Bridge access? Mm-hmm. Have you been there before? Probably. Jackrabbit Lane? Yeah, exactly.
Hutchinson had confirmed he had not only been to the remote area where Danny was attacked, he remembered the street that led there. Elfmont says it was a revealing exchange.
Shaking, he's all distressed now. He was sitting back in the chair like this as far as he could get from the table and the pictures. I knew we had him.
Do you remember seeing her there? Or a similar face? I honestly don't. I mean, I've been to a bunch of fishing access sites for one reason or another.
Hutchinson denied knowing anything about Danny's death. Even when they told him they had the suspect's DNA.
Is there a possibility that you were there when she was murdered? No. You weren't trapping or anything during that time? Not in September. That would have been... Are you asking me? I mean... I'm just asking if you remember anything during that time. No. No.
Did you ever directly say, did you kill Danny Houchins?
No.
Why?
Didn't need to.
Because he knows that you know.
That's right.
And you know that he knows that you know.
Correct.
As they wrapped up the interview, Hutchinson had a question for them.
Anything else you want to ask me while I'm here? No, we're good. We're good now.
To Elfmont, it seemed like Hutchinson couldn't believe they didn't arrest him. But the investigation was far from over.
So we walk out of the building, and we had surveillance people to follow him. He started driving like a maniac. High speed, doing U-turns. He takes off.
With the possibility of an arrest of her sister's killer, Stephanie began imagining what justice would look like for Paul Hutchinson.
I was preparing myself for the next 3 to 5 years of a court battle, to staring him down, to being present every day in that courtroom.
But what Stephanie could never prepare herself for was the startling phone call she got from Tom Elfmont just 12 hours after he had interviewed Hutchinson.
So I called Stephanie, and I said, Stephanie, he's dead. He killed himself. It's a big pause. And she said, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I said, I get it. I understand.
Police say Paul Hutchinson drove to a remote area and called the sheriff's dispatch line saying an officer needed help. When cops arrived, they found Hutchinson's body, dead by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was 55.
Give me a sense of that moment for you.
Shock. I didn't expect that to happen.
When Hutchinson's DNA was checked against evidence from Danny's body, including the semen on her underwear, there was a match.
The ratio, 10.7 trillion to 1. So he was the guy.
This case is solved.
100%.
Stephanie's friend Rochelle, who had considered Hutchinson a mentor, learned what happened as she watched the sheriff's news conference.
I am gutted. I've known him most of my life. Like, it makes me mad to know him. How dare you?
At the news conference, Stephanie thanked the current sheriff's team.
I'd like to express my family's gratitude to Tom Elfmont for overcoming every roadblock. To Dan Springer, thank you for being a man of your word.
And then she did what no one there expected. She unleashed years of pent-up anger.
The sheriff lied to my parents, bold-faced lied and betrayed the trust of shocked and grieving parents. Those institutions failed my sister, failed my family, and failed this community.
I asked Sheriff Springer about Stephanie's allegations that the sheriff's department for years had lied to her family.
If what they say is true, were they lied to?
I don't know what they said, to be honest.
What the parents said is that they were told that their daughter did not have any injuries. If what they are saying is true, were they lied to?
Oh, of course. I mean, I think the reports speak for themselves. There were marks on her body. And if that's what they were told, then that's not the truth.
We reached out to the man who was sheriff in office back in 1996, Bill Slaughter, now retired. Slaughter admits withholding some information from Danny's family, but claims he never lied to them, despite the fact he told the local newspaper in 1996 that there was no indication of foul play. Weeks after the news conference, Stephanie went back to the scene of the crime.
When I finally saw the exact spot where her body was found, and I sat there and imagined that, about her last moments and how it went from peaceful rustling of leaves and, the sounds of squirrels running through the forest and the birds chirping, to suddenly turning to this awful and violating and terrifying experience. And then that realization that she must have had when he was holding her face down in the mud, that she was gonna die right there. And I am so sorry for her that she had to experience that moment.
For you, what is this case about?
Danny. It's about Danny. I would wake up at night and I would say, middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd say, Danny, I got you. And it's about Danny.
In the aftermath of Hutchinson's death, there were so many questions unanswered. Perhaps the most troubling, says Elfmont, were there other victims?
Oh, I think there's a good possibility, yeah.
I think that anyone who is able to rape and murder a young girl and then get away with it for almost 28 years had plenty of chances to do it again.
Stephanie is now trying to make changes in how Montana funds and supervises law enforcement so that cases like Danny's don't fall by the wayside.
On the table, I have what was in Danny's pocket when she died, and then her driver's license, which she was really proud of having.
Years ago, Danny's family spread some of her ashes on a nearby mountaintop.
We spread half of Danny's ashes on top of the tallest mountain on the Bridger Range, Sacagawea Peak.
And now, almost 30 years later, Stephanie was back here on the banks of the Gallatin River where Danny died to spread the last of her ashes and to tell her sister that she'd made a difference.
Love you, Danny.
I think the biggest thing has been, after so many years of begging and pleading for people to pay attention to my sister, for people to believe that she mattered, I'm feeling so often like I was screaming into an echo chamber. Now, suddenly, she matters to everyone all over again.
CBS next Saturday. A young teenager is strangled and buried alive. Absolutely cold-blooded. 20 years later, her family battles to keep her killers behind bars.
We're fighting for her. That's why we're here. She doesn't have a voice, so we're her voice.
48 Hours is all new. CBS next Saturday, 10/9 Central, and streaming on Paramount+.